So I'm going to walk through creating the first project in MIT App Inventor and testing it on your Chromebook. The first thing you're going to do is go to MIT App Inventor, which is linked in the project, and then click the Start a New Project button. When you do this, you should name it, and this name can't contain any spaces, but should always contain the name of the project and your last name. So wherever you would put spaces, I either skip them or I use an underscore. For this project, I'll call it sound button underscore and then my last name, which is Geiger. Once you press OK, I must have a project name there already. So I'm going to just place a 1 there. And once I name it, it'll open up the designer view of MIT App Inventor. Here we've got a phone in the middle and a bunch of components on the left that we can drag onto that phone. So the first thing we're going to do is click a button and drag that onto the phone. This adds a button that the user can use to do lots of different things. And then as soon as I add it to the phone, it gets added to my list of components. So it automatically names it button 1. If I dragged another button, that would be button 2. And you can also click the components on the right-hand side and rename them. So I could call this sound button or something like that, which makes it a little bit easier to keep track of, especially when you have multiple components that are the same type. When you select a component in this component menu, then the properties that you can edit for that component change over here. So I'm going to set the font size to be 24, so it's a little bit easier to read. I'm going to make the height of this button 25% of the screen, and I'm going to make the width fill parent, which means make it as wide as the screen or whatever container that it's in. Then I'm going to change the text down here that shows up on the button, and I'm going to click, or I'm going to type press here, and that's what shows up on the button. So this is just a preview of what the app would look like loaded on a phone. I think you can also see what it would look like on a tablet, which is just like a larger phone. Now what we're going to do is add a sound component from the media drawer. So there are many, many different components that you can add to our apps, and we'll use lots of them this year, but they're sorted into different drawers based on what kind of element or what kind of component they are. So I drag the sound onto the phone. The sound doesn't show up like a button because it's a non-visible component. And when we click on the sound in the component menu, there are not many properties. We can click the source and decide what sound file is going to play. And in order to find a sound file, I'm going to go to soundbible.com. And then we can choose some of these new sound clips or search the sound clips for some kind of sound. So I would pick something that is 3 seconds or less. So that would be this poker chips sound would be good because it was very short. So I clicked on the sound title, and then if I click this MP3 button, I'll be able to save that sound. And it goes to my downloads folder. Then I can leave soundbible.com and go back to the source in the properties menu of the sound component. I can upload a file, choose a file, and then find that poker chip sound in my downloads folder. Once I press OK, it gets uploaded, and so any kind of pictures or MP3s or different files that you add to your app will all show up down here in a list, and then this one is specifically attached to the sound one component. Now I'm going to go to the blocks view. This is the other view, and this is really where the computer science happens in MIT App Inventor. Specifically, this is what Trinket.io reminds me of. And so each of the components that I added on the last screen on the designer view show up on the left side of the blocks view. Here is a list of blocks that are associated with the button. And so the top one says that when the button is clicked, then do this. I'm going to use that event handler because that's going to allow me to take the input from the user whenever they click the button and then do something. Then I'm going to go to the sound component. There are fewer blocks associated with this, and I'm going to click the purple procedure block that says to play the sound that's associated with sound 1. So this is a pretty simple program, but now what I'm going to do is test it by going up to Connect and clicking Chromebook. When I do that, it'll automatically open up the app, the MIT App Inventor Companion app, unless you haven't downloaded it yet, and then it'll ask you to download that app. So if you haven't downloaded it, do that. And once it's downloaded, you can click the same button I just did. And here it's now loaded on my Chromebook as if my Chromebook was a tablet. So instead of using my mouse, I'm going to touch my screen just because mine is a touch screen just like yours is. And when I click the button, hopefully you can hear that my sound effect plays. So I can X this out, which is kind of like turning the tablet off. And then I can edit my program here or in the designer view and retest it on my Chromebook, which is really nice because you can do that either at school or at home. Thank you for watching. Actually, I said thank you for watching, but I'm going to show you real quick how to export it. So there's two things that you need to do. One is you're going to build the app as an APK and save it to your computer. That allows me to test it very quickly. So once you do that, it should provide a download. And then the second thing that we're going to do is export it as an API, or excuse me, an AIA, which is an editable file that shows all of your blocks. So this first file is kind of a working file that I can test, but then the second file, the AIA, is the only way that I can see the code that you used. So after pressing save, I have that APK file, and then now I can go to my projects and export selected project AIA to my computer. When I do that, that was a much quicker export. So I'll save that as well. And then in Google Classroom, I want to add that AIA and that APK. The last file that's associated with some projects is a screenshot of your canvas. And so if you go to your blocks view and you right click anywhere, you can download blocks as an image. And that's another quick way for me to be able to see your code. And so you have three different file types: the AIA, the APK, and then this PNG that we're downloading right now. Now, thank you for watching for real.